This semester we were watching episodes of the Comma Queen, Mary Norris, who is the copy editor of The New Yorker. We learned multiple grammar rules, and here are some examples and their rules. That and which. As we stood in the garden, shielding the screen against sunlight, Augie and I learned that worker bees secrete an enzyme called invertase, which converts nectar into dextrose, then flap their wings to thicken the nectar into honey. Which is a non-restrictive, which means the sentence can stop before the comma which. That. Best of all was the BBC documentary about the waggle dance, the remarkable communication that allows bees to give one another directions to the places where they've found nectar. That is a restrictive, which means the next information is essential. Okay. The ellipsis, yada yada yada. Do you know how bees make honey? I'll show you. Ellipsis with 4 dots. An ellipsis with 4 indicates that the speaker has trailed off into something important. The first of the 4 dots means that the sentence has ended before they trailed off. Possessed. Possession. Lowe noticed icily that Nicholas Reeves's Tutankhamun discoveries would not have been possible without the data being submillimetric. The rule for possession is that if the word is not plural but ends in as, you still add an s after the apostrophe.
Tutankhamun is King Tut.
Yes. The semicolon or mastering the giant comma. I wanted a notebook that functioned not as a body but as a mind, comma, a notebook that collected, comma, interposed, comma, collaged a machine whose components could move. Oh, one of those was a semicolon, not a comma. Could move, whose cogs, chutes, and levers were air. A semicolon is used to indicate that there is more to come. None. We all knew Tom was in trouble, but none of us decided to help. The rule for none is that none is a replacement for not one or no one.
And singular.
Yes. For this midterm project, we also turned a short story into a script. The story is The Hanging of the Schoolmarm by Robert Coover, and this is the New Yorker version. The sheriff does not want to get his ear twisted, so while the men are dropping off, he takes the schoolmarm out to hang her. On the way to the gallows, the sheriff says that sometimes in shootouts with desperados, or when wrestling cattle rushers at the edge of a cliff, he suffers trepidations. He wonders if the schoolmarm is feeling anything like that now. She isn't. Her unsettling mental tough-mindedness is legendary. Self-pity, she says, is the lowest state of which a person's mind can fall, other than lust and gluttony, of course, and indecency. When the sheriff leads the schoolmarm up the gallows, he says, I know you're sad about losing your life, ma'am, but you gotta understand, out here life don't mean nothing. What only matters is rocks. Rocks and the, excuse my French, uneffable. Pardon my French. Your French loses something in translation, the schoolmarm says, but I suppose when you speak of the ineffable, you are speaking of me. Yes'm, the sheriff says. Sure am. Rocks have more to say, the schoolmarm says. They express something profound about this place, this life, as I cannot. Language, even when grammatically correct, is simply inadequate. The situation is in that sense unspeakable. A landscape of rocks evokes a time before time, and the end times as well, forcing us, while contemplating it, to live in all time at once. where words have nothing to attach themselves to. The sheriff nods, but he doesn't know what the heck she's talking about. He fits the noose around her neck. This is the version that I edited and turned it into a script. Sheriff, I don't want to get my ear twisted. Let's go to the gallows. School marm, do you say that often? Sheriff, I say it in shootouts with desperados or when wrestling cattle rushers at the edge of a cliff. I get trepidations. Do you feel like that now? No, I am a very strong-minded person. Self-pity is the lowest state to which a person's mind can fall other than lust and gluttony, of course, and indecency. Sheriff, come on up the gallows. I know you're sad about losing your life, ma'am, but you gotta understand, out here life don't mean nothing. What only matters is rocks and the ineffable, pardon my French. School